the next on the Silver Screen Slasher. And welcome back to Picture House of Horror.
Yep, and we are back yet again with another review of the classic Universal monster films. And today we'll be reviewing a sequel to Frankenstein, which is The Bride of Frankenstein.
Released in 1935 and directed by James Whale, the same director who filmed the original Frankenstein.
Speaking of James Whale, he is back yet again in the director's chair. Better than ever.
Yeah, and Whale wasn't the only person returning for the sequel. Boris Karloff actually decided to reprise the role for the sequel. As well as he was in the son of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Who, by the way, has no relation at all to young Frankenstein.
Yep, so don't get confused with the two. Anyway, let's begin. Now we should probably get to the story of the film.
Yep. Oddly enough, the movie actually opens up outside of the film itself, of showing us Mary Shelley herself.
Yep, which is an opening prologue. She's played by Ursula Manchester, is her name.
Yeah, who, funny enough, also plays another certain character in the movie, and hint, wink, wink.
Yep, which is the bride herself.
Bingo.
Yep. But yeah, in this opening prologue, she's pretty much explaining, in case people at the time didn't see the original, but yeah, she's explaining the events of the original Frankenstein.
As well as explaining how the monster managed to survive at the collapsing windmill.
Yep, speaking of the windmill, that's where actually the sequel picks off at the ending of the last movie.
With the windmill burning into the ground and collapsing. But the monster managed to survive by falling into an underground river.
Yep. But meanwhile, Henry Frankenstein has learned from his mistakes, but then is reunited with his old friend and mentor, Dr. Pretorius.
Who honestly just wants to try and steal Henry's work.
Yeah, speaking of, he's very fascinated at this as well. Just to give you an idea how crazy he is about this work that he's done, he even wants to make a mate for the monster. Speaking of, the monster even threatens Henry to help Dr. Pretorius make a mate for him, and so that's what they do.
Another interesting thing to note about the monster this time around is he's actually learning how to speak.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that as well, in this one I feel like we get more character development than ever from the monster. Unlike the previous movie. Don't get me wrong, he had a bit of development, but not too much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this time around the monster is killing more people. But he's also, but his speech impediment is also starting to improve a little bit more. He's starting to learn new stuff like drink and good, but also fire, bad, as per usual.
Yeah. So he learns to drink wine, he learns to smoke, he learns about wood and fire. And speaking of that, one of the most iconic and memorable scenes, and probably even kind of a heartwarming scene to me, is the part where he starts connecting with his only friend that he ever makes, which is a blind old man.
Yeah, which is all the more tragic when you realize he's just how alone both the blind beggar and the monster are.
Yep.
So they're both outcast in society, and they both know how to get along with each other.
Yep. And it's a pretty touching scene, seeing them develop his character more and everything.
Yeah, and this was actually one of the only scenes in the movie that brought me to tears.
Yep. Oh, and also, in this sequel, I feel like Frankenstein learns a bit more about the world and humanity, and I also feel like he has a bit more humanity in him, less than monster.
Indeed. Well, eventually, Pretoria essentially discovers the monster and basically finds him with asking the monster if he wants to have a mate.
Yep, and so he does. now we get one of the next thing I want to talk about is this really cool effect scene where we see tiny people in little jars in Dr. Pretorius's lab. You remember that part, Silver?
I think I do. Weren't they just putting pickle juice?
Two things. First off, I want to admit those effects are actually not too bad for its time, and second but not least, what the heck does he even do to them in there? Seriously, really, what the hell he does to them?
To me, it kind of feels like an episode from the Twilight Zone where two scientists discover a whole civilization full of small people.
Yep. Oh, and also, what do you think of the little effects scene? I think it's pretty good for its time.
I thought it was pretty unique, given that it was 1935.
Yep, not bad for 1935, I must say. Oh, and now, last but not least, we get to the last few minutes of the film.
And one of my favorite monsters of all time, the Bride of Frankenstein herself, also played by Elsa Lanchester.
Oh, and finally, the part that we've mostly been waiting for, the monster meets the bride. And surprisingly enough, the bride gets even a big shock, even she knows, how ugly he is. Just to give you an idea, she hates him.
Yeah, but that's because she only recently come to life, and, well, she basically reacted like a cat, just like...
Oh, and also, she's not on screen very long. She does leave quite a bit of an impact.
Yeah. Because the main reason she's not on screen that long is because of how both her and the original monster go out. Because the monster finally learns compassion on his own and helps both Henry and his wife Elizabeth to escape while the monster decides to destroy the entire lab itself. Burying both of them.
Self-destruct the lever.
That is, of course, until the sequel.
Yep. And he leaves it, and he says this one last time: "We belong dead."
Which means that they can't belong together in one life, don't belong together in the next.
Yep. So he pulls the self-destruct lever. Henry and his wife escape, killing the monster, the bride, and Dr. Pretorius inside.
That does bring up an interesting question, though. Why would the lab have a self-destruct switch?
You know what's funny? Angry Video Game Nerd even said once, imagine if someone accidentally went past that laser and accidentally hit that thing.
Would have blown up the whole thing.
Who does that? That is so stupid.
So, anyway, that was The Bride of Frankenstein. What do you think we do?
Review?
Next time, things get a little bit hairy when the moon comes out and the Wolfman appears. Until next time, see you around, my Phoenix Film Fanatics.
Yep, see you later.